Oh, don't forget we also deal with vampires. By the way, drop the mister and call me Rick, okay?
Okay, Rick.
Good. Have you ever seen Ghostbusters? Hey, stop rolling your eyes. According to that movie, the Big Apple happens to be America's most haunted city, which is probably true. Perhaps you've heard of a scandalous tale or two involving non-human existences such as ghosts, spirits, aliens, and the like. And guess what? Someone has to deal with them to keep the power balance in this town.
All right. Assuming that paranormal lives actually exist, why doesn't the government tell the general public about our supernatural neighbors?
Like breaking news, your neighbors might be Martians, and your doctor might be a zombie. Don't be ridiculous. Besides, those who are acquainted with paranormal presences are already aware of them, and the rest of the world need not know or learn about them. Informing the entire city sounds as good a plan as pushing the panic button.
Okay, I get your point.
Good. Any more questions?
He asked, shifting on the chair and crossing his long legs. Yes. What made you hire me as your subordinate?
That's simple. First of all, I need an assistant who takes care of my daily chores, such as making case files. Writing case files is almost like writing your patient's charts, so I believe that part will be easy for you. I've had my share of assistants, but for some unknown reasons, they quit within a month or so. Those losers. Can you believe one of them quit on the second day? In addition, the people I deal with are not necessarily ladies and gentlemen, so having someone with a reputation as the Grim Reaper helps.
Excuse me? I narrowed my eyes. How many times do I have to remind you that I'm not the Grim Reaper?
That's what you say.
He winked. I clenched my fists. I was tempted to whack him in his beautiful face and storm out of the room for good. The only reason I didn't was my humongous student loan. Like it or not, I could at least stay up to date with the payment as long as I kept this job. In addition, this job was starting to look something like an au pair for a psychiatric patient. Indeed, Rick Rolling reminded me of the people in mental facilities. I had seen more than my share of patients with conditions such as grandiose/persecutory delusional disorders. Also, other than mental patients, Rick Rolling was the only person who talked about supernatural lives so breezily, like discussing the weather. Yeah, right. I had a lightbulb moment. As I recalled Hernandez's advice to see Rolling as the combination of a difficult patient and a temperamental attending physician, I realized this guy was mentally ill. Perhaps the part about him being the only son of USCAB's CEO was true. I could imagine filthy rich people with tons of money had the power to persuade a government office into hiring their son. I recalled how Rick Castle of Castle got into the NYPD by utilizing his friendship with the mayor of New York City so he could tag along with that beautiful female detective. In addition, Rolling was the only guy in this office wearing a Versace suit. Okay. Now I understand. I smiled. Though limited, I had experience dealing with mentally ill patients. I knew for a fact that any endeavor, such as trying to decipher the patient's stories of menacing aliens snooping on their thoughts, never worked. Okay, so my latest theory of Rick Rolling being a nutjob impersonating an FBI agent had some holes, such as, it didn't explain why his words were convincing enough to label me as the Grim Reaper. Then again, a desperate time called for a desperate measure. I was more than happy to believe what I wanted to believe. My smile widened. All I needed to do was pretend to listen to his story. Maybe my new career path wasn't that bad. I had compared my pay to that of a first-year resident, and mine was slightly better. Considering I didn't need to look after drug addicts and people with infectious diseases, this could be a cushy job. Nice to meet you, Rick. We'll work together as a team, you know, I declared.
That's what I've been trying to tell you for the past hour.
There was a knock on the door, so I began my duties and answered it. It was another special assistant with 2 women. Both of them were stunningly beautiful. One was in her late 20s to early 30s. From her looks and fashion, she reminded me of a cast member from The Real Housewives of New York City. The other woman was a few years younger than her, probably in her mid-20s. They had resemblances in the shapes of the nose and jaw, so I presumed them to be sisters. The younger of the two looked more delicate than the other. If the elder sister was a sunflower, she was baby's breath.
Agent rolling, you have visitors asking for your services.
The assistant said. Wow. I think I'm finally starting to get the hang of my new job. Should it be babysitting Rick rolling, right? It's like diving into an Olympic-sized swimming pool to discover that I can do a few laps without drowning. No more anxieties, just a clean dive straight into the deep end. Don't miss the next episode of my blockbuster show, The Adventures of the Super Special Agent. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.